say recording is in progress, but I feel like I've heard that a lot lately. So here we go again. Make City Make Spence. Not on our own because we're all together again. It is Monday, September 29th, 2025, year of our Lord, and we are back. It's been almost 3 weeks since we have last recorded. Garret Comat's here, joined as always by the production maestro of the Majors Detroit, Adam Hernandez, the architect, keeper of the pizza mines, wordsmith, cat extraordinaire, Sean Spence. Um, and when we gathered on September 9th, Detroit City FC was on a 5 game unbeaten streak.
You mean when I predicted we would go unbeaten the rest of the season?
Oh, yeah, you did say that. Um,
My
a,
pain.
a
Sorry.
lot, a lot has happened. A lot has happened on the field since we last recorded. So we had 5 unbeaten. We recorded on Tuesday, September 9th. Detroit City FC traveled to New Mexico on Wednesday, September 10th. Had a glorious chance at the beginning of the start of the match, saved. New Mexico United said, "Thank you. Let the ass whooping commence." As far as goals, 4-0. 10 days later, Lexington SC comes into Keyworth, and I'll admit I had some things going on, so I turned on the match in the 72nd minute when Lexington was celebrating their goal, though there were plenty of Detroit City chances from what I saw. Unfortunately, Lexington with a 1-0 win at Keyworth. And then a couple days ago, Eastern Conference leaders Louisville City comes in, get a goal early. But after a rough 20 minutes, Detroit City FC provides plenty of chances. Possession battle won, XG battle won, shot battle won. Fortunately, Louisville gets the 1-0 win, and now we are in a precarious position when you look at results of teams around us these last couple weeks. But enough for me talking about that. Let me hand it over to the two gentlemen that have caught most of these last few matches to give their takes. Sean Spence, good evening. I start with you.
Uh, you know, the I'm sure that it feels very frustrating in the locker room right now because this is not like a three match losing streak that um is because they've been playing terrible football, you know. Especially the two home matches, the two 1-0 losses at home to Lexington and Louisville. Um, those are those are matches where we won the XG battle, if you believe in that sort of stuff. Meaning, what's XG mean? Well, it means that we basically got more better scoring chances, but we didn't score one of them, and Louisville did. Now I will we'll get deeper into Louisville in a minute, because I believe that a lot of that is influenced by game state. Louisville got the lead in the 6th minute, so they didn't need to establish a lot of possession after that. So our domination of possession is partly to our credit, but also partly just an artifact of the way the game evolved. And Lexington, it was so frustrating because it's a match that we should have won. Um, like at the very least, getting a draw out of that would have felt like something. But it's another match where we created more better chances, but they got the goal. And then we go all the way back to New Mexico. That again is a weird, like, we lose 4-0, but
We
like
had chances. We had
we had
chances.
chances that, like, it was a fair, like, it's crazy to talk about a 4-0 match like it was fairly even, but it was fairly even. Like, they scored from the midfield stripe. That's the first goal. And I think what happened there is that put Carlos Herrera in sort of a mental blender. Um, because he was really at sixes and sevens for the rest of that first half, especially. Like, do I come out and gather this ball? Do I stay at home and it like really got him into his head about where he's positioning himself vis-a-vis um when we're not fully in a defensive mode, during transitions, during offensive play, like because what all that happened there is that he was playing way up in the sweeper keeper position because we were trying to be adventuresome in attack, and Stevie had moved, or was it Stevie at that point? Um,
I'm bringing up the lineup.
I think it might be Michael Bryant. I don't know if Stevie had come back yet, but the center back had moved forward, and so in that situation that kind of draws him more forward, and then we turn the ball over, and you think generally you're going to be able to spoil play and slow the thing down while everybody scrambles back, but this uh, credit to good old Watts his ass, whose name I'm completely blanking on, that scored that first goal. But I mean, he had the confidence and had spied Herrera out clearly, because he took one touch and put a shot on goal from what, 55 yards. Like, oh,
A
okay.
screaming chip is what I'll call it.
I
That's
mean,
what I.
it was a shot. Like he didn't really chip it much because he didn't have to. The natural flight, just hitting the ball that far, it's probably going to go 8, 10 feet off the ground. And
Zico Bailey was the scorer. The
Zico
back
Bailey,
line
right?
for us was Bryant, Carroll, Amamensa.
Okay, so it was Stevie that stepped into midfield, I think, and kind of drew one of the center backs that had moved into a possession mode thing, meaning we just had two at the back, and typically our keeper will take a couple steps forward, just be ready to really be the sweeper, and that was when they caught us, um, and it was a tremendous individual play. It was one of those where like that doesn't register on the XG at all, right? That's a zero for a shot from that position, and they got a goal out of it. Tremendous, Zico Bailey. Hats off to you, and that really changed the match. Given that sort of cushion, um, and the fact that Carlos Herrera, I think, really was just kind of like having one of those like sequences from like a 60s sci-fi film where like everything's like super trippy and the sky is flowing and there's collars everywhere. He's like, where am I standing? What am I doing? Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
So
Fuck,
you're
fuck. I don't
saying
think I know what I'm doing. Am I even Carlos Herrera? Did I just drop into this body from somewhere else? Where am I? Mean, he looked so lost.
it's like
Oh,
because you said it's the 1960s, Sean, and we've had a couple musical references. It's like when rock music really gained, and people would go on to that German show Beat Club, I think, and they would play live, and you would have the psychedelic backgrounds and the screens changing colors as they're going. That's probably
right.
what Carlos Ferrero was envisioning in that moment.
Right. Yeah. Those like oil
Black Sabbath's Iron
slide.
Man video is an example of that. If you ever
Right.
go watch
Exactly.
that on YouTube,
Those kind of like oil slides they put in front of the cameras or in front of the lights.
yeah.
Um. Yeah. So all of which is to say that 3 matches, 0 points in a crucial, like in the stretch run, right? Coming down the stretch, and just like nope, nope, nope. Um. And we're really at the point now where I think it has to be registering with the guys that they've kind of hit a crisis, like um despite playing pretty decent football, like like if you go out and play really encouragingly against North Carolina and get another 1-1 draw like the last time you played, which is like North Carolina was the Kobe Hernandez Foster kind of coming out game, right? He got the assist on the Darren Smith goal,
Yeah.
and really, allowed us to dominate as the match went on. Um, and his form has leveled out since those early few matches. And but it's not just that he's fallen off. It's also that, you know, teams are preparing for him now. You know, they're trying to deny him the ball. They know that he creates a lot of good things for us on the ball. So, you know, like it's not unusual now to see him getting the kind of somebody following him around everywhere he goes treatment that we used to see a lot from Maxey. And you know, so it's not surprising is what I'm saying, that he's not like just dominating matches, because you know this is professional football, and they will scheme a way to slow you down. Um, uh, but if we, you know, if we play encouragingly against North Carolina and drop points again, we could be in eighth place, you know, or out of the playoffs going into the final three matches. Like, um, and one of those matches against one of the teams chasing us, it's just bad. It's real bad. Um,
Indy 11, for example, Detroit City's in seventh right now in the East, tied on points with Indy, but they have the tiebreaker over because of the win on August 9th.
right.
Indy 11 come from behind win at home the weekend prior against Birmingham Legion and then defeated Western Conference leaders Tulsa. Rhode Island's gotten results. Had they won at El Paso, Detroit City would actually be in eighth instead of seventh. But Rhode Island, El Paso got an equalizer on Friday. They're a point behind.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
not we were, you know, before this three match losing skein, we were part of the leading group with
yeah,
Loudown, Hartford, Pittsburgh. We have now tumbled down into the three teams for two spots group, which is us and Indy and Rhode Island. And that's really what it boils down to, is that we've got to beat one of those teams. And we're pretty effectively even going into these last four matches. You know, we have a 1 point lead on Rhode Island, but that's effectively those three teams are even.
yeah.
Um, let's look at strength of schedule that's left. We have North Carolina at home, Loudoun at home, and then we're done at home. We go on the road to Charleston, which is like probably the second best team in the league, and also coached by Ben, who always loves to put the knife in to us, right? And then we go on the road to Tampa Bay, who at this point are 5 points adrift, but have shown some
They
signs of
haven't
life.
died yet.
Right. Well, they haven't lost for four matches. They've done a lot of drawing recently. They're showing a little sign of life, and that's our final match. Like um, we could be going into the final week with, if you know, if we haven't righted the ship, in ninth place with 10th place Tampa Bay, like right on our heels, hoping to leapfrog over us and hope that one of Indy 11 and Rhode Island lose. Like, um, really have like kind of made of ourselves the East Catamite, and really a disappointing outcome. Um,
It's
like I want to move to can we just move to like, is there any part of the of that gloss of those matches that you guys want to expand upon or anything? Because I kind of have a like a pivot in mind. um, but I want to make sure we talked about the matches sufficiently to feel
yeah,
like
I think I want to before I kick it into Adam, I think our strength when you look at right now, our last three that we've had, because we New Mexico's now third in the West, Lexington's fifth, Louisville's tops in the East. So that was our last three. And now you're playing third in the East, fourth in the East, second in the East, 10th in the East. So Adam, I'll kick it to you. Because you've been at Keyworth the last couple. You've had the prime choice view. Um, what's your take on it? You
I
feeling
mean,
like kind of like us on it, or are you kind of like feeling like there's something potentially there that we just need to get a goal and we're good type thing?
I mean, I made mention of this last night um during the Detroit City Sportscast that I mean there is some hope with me that this can get turned around as even considering the limited time that we have. Like you mentioned, Sean, we have four matches left, two at home, two on the road. And they're not easy matches. I mean, those easy matches have come and gone. I mean, even that last game against Tampa in at L Lang is just it that could decide everything for you, and that's exactly what I don't want to happen. Um, but as frustrating as everything has been so far these past few weeks, perhaps the most frustrating thing about all of this is, yeah, how well they have been playing, especially these past two matches. Um, I thought that they should have come out on top against Lexington. They had the chances. They just couldn't convert. I thought that after weathering that storm against Lou City Saturday night, only giving up a goal, which again, considering who you're going up against in Lou City, the best team in USL Championship, um, consistently the best team, it seems like most years.
Oh, absolutely. They are
Um,
like, I think they've kind of separated themselves from everyone else the last couple of years.
They look
absolutely.
like they're on
And
autopilot right now.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
good they are.
like
and
how many have they won in a row in the league? Like a shitload.
well, yeah,
North
we talked about
Carolina's the only team to beat them.
their last loss was against Eintracht
I tried.
Frankfurt. Yeah, so
Right.
I know about that bad.
yeah. So I mean, being able to weather that early storm against Lou City and only giving up a goal, I mean, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. And then being able to counter that press with good, consistent, what I thought offense, again, just being able to being unable to finish in that final 18 was just it was again so
I
I mean, it was
mean,
heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking in a
so
sense
many
because
stone
I
cold
mean,
chances against Louisville. You
I know,
know, the
yeah,
Shane back post header where it's like he's just alone on an island and but like I don't know.
I mean,
He's not good at
Sheldon
directing
had
headers. Yeah.
Sheldon had more opportunities.
Oh my God.
Diouf rang one off the crossbar, and you just had to figure like, what more does this team have to do just to just get a goal? I'm not talking about two
That's the
or
L to
three.
Darren at the near post.
Yeah, I'm just talking about a goal because I mean maybe that's all it takes for kind of the floodgates to open is they just need that goal. And that's just I mean that's what's given me some ray of hope here is I mean this isn't the same team that we saw in the middle of the summer when they were playing that game in Oakland against the Roots or that just that
Pittsburgh game.
god awful, Pittsburgh game, which, we mentioned may have been, maybe the worst game in the club's history.
We saw some
Um,
history today.
yeah, this team has some jump to it. They have some life to them. They just can't score any goals, which has been the story of this squad since really they went pro.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It really, I think um, there's a part of me that is finding the way this is turning out, um, to be, to feel a bit ironic, because it's like you kind of, we had the ritual sacrifice of Trevor when things were going very poorly. Um, and, uh, and things turned around for a while, but now we're winding up right back almost exactly where we always seem to be from like season one to now in the
mhm.
USL Championship with like, you know, a month left. We're like, okay, well, I mean, like last year was a little more, like we were more like fifth around now instead of seventh, but we weren't stomping league. Um, and we're under 500 like
We're in the
um
bottom third of goals scored in the East.
right and it is extremely frustrating to get no points from these matches because I hope that the players can hold on and I'm sure that this is exactly what the coaching staff is reinforcing, that like, look, there's plenty of reason to feel really good about the way we're playing football right now. Like we haven't gotten results, but football is a very low scoring, high variance game. This will happen, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and there, like there were periods of that Lexington match where you had Haruki and Kobe and Jesse L all kind of in a triangle on the right, just like just sort of creating half chances at will. They'd like it's like they kind of found a way to set up over there where their ability to kind of feint and understand each other just completely outstripped the ability of the Lexington defenders to get a hold of the ball or to out anticipate them. It was really lovely to see. But we couldn't. We kept creating these like centered balls and pullbacks to no one, and the we don't have a striker who is physically dominant enough to hold off a center back on that near post run. You know,
Yep.
um, Darren's good and quick, but he's not so quick that he's going to beat a reasonably athletic center back at this level. And he's getting out muscled. Like they're getting the first touch on the ball, even though the run is there, the ball is there. Um, you know, and
He's also one that's special, that he does his best when he's got a little bit of space to make his move in there. And also with USL Championship defenders, they're closing in on him quick with that
yeah,
space.
yeah. Well, like um, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, well, would we be better? But I mean, like, he's just got to figure out a way to create that space for himself,
Mhm.
because like you're not going to get a lot better balls than a couple of the ones that he's barely gotten shots on the last against Lexington and Louisville. Where he's making that near post run, the ball is there, like it's got to be on goal. Um,
Right.
and if you're getting beat to the ball or you're fluffing a shot, well past the near post, like, we've seen a lot of that from a lot of strikers, and what we call that is bad. It's bad. Don't like that is not quality striker play. That is it's bad. But the offense looks pretty fucking good when it gets moving, and the ability of the possession structure and the kind of fluidity of the possession structure to maintain control of the ball continues to grow. So like you say, Ed, there really is a chance that they could just like get a couple results and really be feeling themselves, and that's kind of really all that it takes in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
like it's like, okay, well, if the whole idea, like there are people in sports in like um who theorize that it's better to lose a little bit right before the playoffs, that you don't want to go storming into the playoffs. You don't want all the players' egos through the roof. You want them humble and working hard. Um, and so that like that school of thought is that for the players to have the best kind of psychological like profile for success in postseason, that what they need is they need a little bit of humiliation before the postseason starts, but it can't happen right before the postseason, or they'll carry it into it and they'll probably just go. So you need it, a month out, let's say. Um, so there's reason to think, okay, well, we're seeing signs that they're getting it together, and if they can start getting results, then they could be storming into the playoffs on a winning streak as kind of the away team that nobody wants to host.
Sure.
Um, and they've done that before, and I would like to see it. We'll see. Um,
So here's a
wow.
question I got with the next two matches.
Soda Pop's having something to say.
Oh, go on. What you got?
Can you
So
hear the cat?
I
He's
hear a noise in the background. So is that Soda Pop trying to talk?
he's shouting at Sarah because she has not given them treats. She walked in and out of the kitchen without treats being produced, and Soda Pop was like, "I don't think so, Mom.
Oh,
Mom, you forgot a thing."
I thought he had some thoughts on Detroit City's
No, yeah, he's like,
inability
"Listen,
to.
babe, call me. Dad, they played really well. I think you're being too hard. Oh no, Bubs. I'm sorry." Um, I forget what I was saying for Soda Pop sounded.
I was thinking I was getting into the next two, and then Soda Pop was like, "Yo, hold that thought for a second. I'm gonna do
Yeah. I what concerns me is that um I worry that we see a kind of this is part of the year where you start planning for the next year, right? Like it's just part of it, and um I I worry that we don't have any if they don't pull it around in dramatic fashion like I just described, and kind of storm it, that we're likely to see a lot of kind of unhappy changes over the uh, off season in terms of player personnel. Um,
And I think there's still the problem also too right now going in with October being a couple days away. We still have some uncertain things which have a massive hand in what this offseason going to be,
right, right. Well,
i.e., no
that's the other
sporting
thing.
director.
That's the thing that I was going to say is that, and we don't have any surety about the path forward with the sort of younger core that we've started to install this
Right.
season, where Alex was kind of the leading edge of that, but now you got Kobe and Haruki and um, Jesse L, uh, and they share a lot of qualities. You can see if this is Danny's influence, then he has a profile of player he's looking for. He wants very technical uh, players, and who play intelligently, and that's great. Like, okay, good, more of that. If we can get 10 more like those guys, I'd be psyched. Um, but I worry um that that there's some guys playing for jobs, and then they're also playing for the jobs of the guys who are hurt and can't play right now,
Yeah.
in some way, so hmm.
So we have two spots basically right now that we're in the running for. Um, 5 points behind Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who are in sixth.
Yeah.
Level on points with Indy 11, who are below us in eighth. Rhode Island a point behind at 31. Tampa Bay Rowdies 4 points behind Rhode Island, five behind Detroit City. So two matches coming up. And this is I'm not just going to name ours. I'm going to name so basically four teams for two spots right now.
Right.
We play on October. So Saturday, October 4th sees.
Okay. Suggestion. Let's not do the entire date for each one of these
Yeah.
because
So Detroit City
gets
hosts North
boring.
Carolina,
Right.
who have a short rest because North Carolina plays in the middle of the week at Birmingham.
Right. Yeah. They don't.
Indy goes to Louisville.
Yes. Indy has
Tampa
a
hosts
tough.
Monterey. Yeah.
Indy has it tough. Rhode Island does not.
Rhode Island hosts Las Vegas, and Tampa Bay hosts Monterey Bay.
Yeah, like it's really see it tighten it up there.
Yeah, it's gonna even tighter.
Let's those four results.
Those four results, what?
What do you guys think? So us in North Carolina, Louisville, Indy, Tampa, Monterey, Rhode Island, Las Vegas.
I'm trying to remember if Indy at home against Louisville.
No, it's at Lynn.
So I think Indy are just going to get fed to Louisville. Um, that's going to be like a ritual, like a propitiation kind of sacrifice kind of deal. Um,
What was their first matchup this year? I'm looking at that right now.
I mean, they've been riding their luck. They got massively outplayed, really, by Tulsa, and got a couple goals on not creating a whole lot. Um,
Louisville won at Carroll on August 30th, 3-1. So
yeah, yeah, and I just think that they're going to. I think they're going to lose there. And then us against North Carolina. I mean, um, I would say that we kind of proof of concept against North Carolina. I don't know how much is going to change things for them to be able to scheme against us, scheme against exactly what we're doing now because it's a little different than what we were doing previously. But I feel like we should be favored for that match against North Carolina, even though they've got a better record. Um,
North Carolina playing on, there'll be 2 days rest basically
right,
before.
right. They'll be on short rest. They'll have to rotate a bit, and they won't have spent a normal week of preparation with us, like, where you're getting things blocked out, and so they'll be hurriedly going through kind of our set pieces, um, in a walkthrough, you know, and then we'll have a match. So yeah, I think I think we should be favored, and we'll probably pick up 3 points there. Rhode Island against Las Vegas. I feel like they're going to win that match. Tampa Bay against Monterey Bay. I mean, isn't Monterey Bay? I'm trying to remember. Aren't they just like skidding downward?
Yeah, they're in 10th. They're 3 points back of the last playoff spot in the West that's held by Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I think that I can see it coming out of this match in my
They
in
did
my
just beat
in my opinion.
Sacramento, though, on Saturday.
I don't know.
And Andrew with New Mexico, but got pumped 4-0 at home to Hartford previous.
Right. I mean, really, like we have three teams behind us who have not been losing many matches. Um, so the really the crucial factor is whether we start winning matches or not. Like, none of it matters if we keep losing, because it's not like this isn't one of those situations where it seems like everyone's avoiding the playoffs and it's a lose off. Like, Rhode Island are playing pretty well. Tampa Bay are, really struggling mightily to right the ship and kind of keep themselves in the playoffs. Indy 11 are, you know, a weird team a little bit, they can be very difficult on their day and like look extremely naive and old and slow on another day.
Yeah.
So, eh, you know, eh. and then there's us, where we've got the NISA All Star sort of spine still holding together along the back line. Um, but increasingly a kind of new look, um, younger midfield and attack, and like I love the effort that Matt Sheldon's given us, but like I really hope to see Haruki getting some more starts, because this is the thing, is like I look at this group and it's like, okay, this is a group but you want to carry it forward. You don't want to fucking chop and change it like that. That is one of the reasons that teams suck in the USL Championship. Like, is they're just too much fucking turnover. You can't learn each other. You can't grow into anything together.
Right.
Um, And
No continuity in the
right,
squad
there's
year to
zero
year.
continuity. There's zero sense of being in a project. It's like, that we it's so explicitly mercenary that it just drains the life out of the enterprise. And um I hope that we're not about to go through a period like that. And so to avoid that, you really it would be nice if you had a sporting director who could handle this. But I guess, maybe I don't know. Somebody hopefully is trying to get these guys signed for, on multi-year contracts. Like, and what I'm talking about is like, let's make sure Alex Villanueva is locked down. Let's make sure Kobe's locked down. Let's make sure Haruki is coming back. Um, Darren Smith, he's 29. So if he's feeling, wanderlust and wants to roll on, like at this point, I probably would let him roll on. And try to spend some money on a striker, probably in the off season yet again, because like Ates Diouf, that's another one. You just got like you got it. We have gotten no indication that anything is happening, and maybe it's all great, and this is all going to come out
And that's
fantastically.
and
Um,
Sean, that's essentially confirmed. I mean, I had this conversation with Danny after the match on Saturday night, and I asked specifically about Ates Diouf and whether or not the team is going to attempt in any way to bring him back next season, despite him, you know, being on loan from Lexington. And it was, and he said that the club wants him back. Um, Essentially, he alluded to Diouf wanting to come back, but everything is in a holding pattern right now because there is no sporting director. And if that's the situation
He's
with
like, I feel
Diouf,
like I
that's
feel
also
like the
going to be the
goose with the
situation
knife in
from.
his beak, right? And why is that, Danny? Why is that?
But yeah, that's that, and that's the situation for everything else when it comes to this team right now, including Danny himself, because Danny doesn't have a contract for next season,
Right,
and you have to suspect that, his future with Detroit City FC is also in a holding pattern because
right.
yes, there is no sporting director to,
So
make these decisions right now.
I think that, like, what worries me about the tenor of this, and like sort of my thinking about this recently, is that it's possible I've uh entirely missed where the beclowning is happening, that it's actually our guys, that it's actually the owners who are just beclowning themselves insanely with the Trevor and Tiffany thing. um because, like, wait a minute, so you cut this guy loose, like, brusquely, and his wife loose brusquely during free agent negotiation period. um
Hmm.
Finished a deal that he helped with after he left, right? That's Kobe. And
Mhm.
then, and now the manager is saying can't do nothing. Like, hold on. Like, this team is going to get stripped down for parts. Like, we're going to watch every single one of these players go, while the club goes, what could we do? They wanted to leave. They didn't want to leave. You didn't offer them a deal. And someone else came in and said, hey, 2 years at this much. And they're like, I mean, like, these guys haven't even offered me a deal. Like, all right.
But season tickets can be renewed for 2026. Plus, get your seat deposits for the
Like,
new stadium in 2027.
okay, but that's a different, like, that's a completely different department, right? There's got to be some, like, if you fired the guy who does all the contract shit, what is happening right now? Like, you seriously not nominate someone like that? There, that's what I'm either Sean Mann et al. Or absolutely, like, in full juggalo clown makeup on this matter, just like, We didn't hire anybody, or Danny's kind of lying to you to keep from talking about this.
Yeah.
And he's really in charge. But no one, it's not been acknowledged in public anywhere, so he can still do this, like, I'm pursued by many foes thing. Um, and all right. Like I just would like someone to be fucking straightforward for 30 fucking seconds around this club at some point in the future, because this is tiresome. Who's hurt for how long? What's their roster status? What's the status of the contracts? How long has everyone signed for? Do we have an option on those deals? Like this, you don't need these to be trade secrets, right? You're not really help giving yourself an advantage in the market. Everyone who needs to know that shit knows it, right? So by hiding it from us, you just look like you're trying to like not let us see the clown show. And like, and my challenge is like, just don't be a clown show. Like, be transparent and not a clown show. I know that it sounds like a lot, but I mean,
So
anyway,
it's
I like
it's
it's tough. It's tough. Like, look, this is the nature of sports. This is the nature of the thing. Like, it's somewhere someone is talking to themselves about how unfair it is that I'm making these judgments. And if we had won these last three matches, you would be talking like, yes, exactly. You're exactly right.
Bingo.
Because sports are a religion, and the results tell us what God is thinking. and and like, we don't, it's not that's not literally true, right? Obviously, but like, that's kind of how we approach it. And so, you have displeased the gods of football at some level, and you can say it's not fair, but you're playing the not fair game. Like, you signed up for professional not fair sports. That's football. It's, very few goals, lots of variance, you know, a team of 11 reasonably fit amateurs can beat 11 professionals if they're kind of hungover and don't give a shit, and the amateurs get a couple breaks. Like, you know, it's that's not possible in the NFL, but it is possible in the FA Cup. And it's the nature of the sport.
So, Sean, you went City beats North Carolina, Indy loses at Louisville, Tampa beats Monterey, Rhode Island beats Las Vegas. Adam, what say you on those four? And then I'll name mine.
I'm gonna go with so Sean has a win against North Carolina, correct? I'm just getting our
Correct.
picks together right now.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yes.
go with a win against North Carolina as well. I'm thinking that, again, given the way they've played these past couple of weeks, the dam has to break at some point, and I think it happens this weekend against North Carolina. So I'm going with a win there.
I think
Um,
Ates goes off.
yes.
That's my my guess, because
Um,
this is an Ates
Uh,
Diouf game.
and it
Ates
makes
Inferno.
I think oh shit. You motherfucker. Um yeah, and it makes it that much harder to bring him back with him going off again on this coming Saturday. Um
Yeah, price keeps going up.
yeah, you may as well throw those chances to bring him back in Ate's Inferno. Um
Well, I'm just
My
saying, like,
best,
if
my best one yet.
if you know Shrek wants to get in here and mix it up, like, all right, man, just put a little coin in the machine,
And
like
have
the
yeah, and
whole
have
point of you not putting coin in was so that you didn't feel like you could put your oar in on decisions. But if you're getting involved in decisions anyway, then fucking pony up, bro. Like
put the coin in the
you
machine, and
need to
have a little
give
odd test
you,
ball come drop
you
out the
need to
bottom.
give to the team the same percentage of your income that a season ticket is to the lowest income Detroit City supporter. We'll figure that out. It'll be like, okay, you owe us 8 million. Um, like I'm just saying, like you got a seat at the table and everything. Like put some skin in the game.
Absolutely. I'm going with a
So you got City over North Carolina. That's
City
result
over
number
North
one.
Carolina. Indy gets pummeled by Louisville City.
Mhm.
Um, Rhode Island beats Las Vegas, and then we see a draw between Tampa Bay and Monterey Bay.
Oh
I'm
wow,
gonna.
that would really
I
hurt Tampa Bay.
They
Tampa's
should have lost
so
the other night.
inconsistent.
Did you see the
Yeah,
scoreline of that? Like the
yeah,
3 goals scored in stoppage time?
yes,
What the fuck, man?
man. Nobody shuts it down like a USL championship team shuts it down. It was like, oh, we went on a mental vacation and the other team scored 3 goals in 6 minutes. Like, wow. Did you guys like? Did your souls leave your body? Like, how asleep were you?
Um, I think it's gonna be 1-1
Back against
at
Phoenix.
Keyworth.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going 1-1 at Keyworth. I think
Ooh.
we'll get a goal, but I think just something these last couple matchups with City and North Carolina have been 1-1. Um, but I think a draw is a booster when you compare the last three results. Louisville over Indy. I hate saying Louisville's going to win something on there, but it's
I mean,
against Indy.
yeah, they've
Louisville's
won,
going to beat Indy.
they've won 19 of 26 matches. Like,
Yeah,
they win all the fucking time.
Louisville 2-0. Um, Rhode Island over Vegas, they'll be like 1-0 or something because Rhode Island can't score goals. And when they do score goals, then they concede goals. See the match at El Paso on Friday. Uh, Tampa loses to Monterey Bay. Uh,
Wow.
Monterey,
Okay.
Monterey Bay is so all over the place. This is a Monterey all over the place win. And then the following week, there's only three matchups between the four teams, and I'll explain why. City's home finale versus Loudoun.
Yep.
Rhode Island hosts Tampa Bay. Indy 11 travels to Highmark to take on Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I'd say
Um,
I just get squeamish whenever when you have a team like Monterey Bay going cross country to, you know, play a soccer match. I mean, if this was like Lou City going to Orange County, then I think that's a completely different set of circumstances. But I don't know. I just think that's tough. I think it's
yeah.
a tough situation for a team like Monterey Bay to do that. Which, I'm still giving them the benefit of the doubt by giving them a draw too. So, but I mean, I hope you're right, Garrett.
And that's just more so because Tampa's being Tampa this year.
Yeah.
Tampa's
I mean,
all over the place.
they I feel like they're in the they're trying to they've kind of whoa why is my computer's going crazy they're trying to stabilize under the new manager, right? They got Dom Cassiato in and they're playing better, and I anticipate them continuing. I kind of see their arc bending up now. Whether that's enough at this late point, but that's why I don't see them losing against Monterey Bay at home. You know, with that is an absolutely extravagant amount of travel
Hmm.
to go like from diagonally across the North American landmass. That's rough. Um, so, hey, USA.
Garrett, I will
Um,
buy you a Frosty if Monterey Bay beats the Rowdies.
and
Flip this.
like, let me, okay, yes. So, like, I just want to, I like the way we're doing this. I just kind of want to like step out to point out that Indy 11 has a really rough finishing schedule. Like
Yeah,
they're on the
they
road to
do.
Louisville City, they're on the road to Pittsburgh, they're at home to Loudown, and they're on the road to Orange County.
Hmm.
Like,
We're still
okay,
trying to get in the West.
right. And Orange County, like we beat them, but like they were on a heater when we beat them. Like they were kind of shocked. Like, whoa, like what the fuck? Detroit City, we thought this was, win number 6 in a row or whatever. Um, Rhode Island, not so much. So we'll get around to that, I guess. Why are there only 3 matchups that week?
Rhode Island plays Tampa
Oh,
in 2 weekends. So it's us versus Loudoun, Rhode Island and Tampa play each other. Indy goes to Pittsburgh.
okay. Hmm. Tampa. So I mean, I guess the way I see it is I'm in my view, if I were handicapping this, I would go City, Rhode Island, Tampa, Indy. I think Indy's final stretch of matches is pretty brutal, and I could see them
Bottoming out.
just completely, yeah, like falling apart. Like now they could still wind up in the playoffs if everybody else did a similar thing, which is kind of I think how we wound up in the playoffs one of the times. Where we were doing pretty poorly, but everyone else was doing also pretty poorly, and so we all just sort of staggered into the playoffs.
Never
Um,
been happier for a Russell Cicerone goal than we did October of 23 against Miami.
that is true. I just, um, while I enjoy doing all this, I really hope that next season we're not figuring out if we have to sweat getting in the playoffs, um, because
If there, if
it's
there
this
is a
feels like
next
it's
season.
right. Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, there might not be it. Yeah.
if it just feels like we've taken a step backward here, and if this winds up being a kind of retrenchment to get some new get some youth into the team and get some new players in that can change the way we play, then okay. Um, but the goal was a home playoff game, and then the goal was to win a home playoff game. And that was the upward plot that was imagined, right? But that's not where we are.
No. All right, so you're going. Adam, what do you think? Lastly, for that second weekend, or if you want to say like Sean, your prediction of the four, how it plays out is us, Rhode Island, Tampa, Indy.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I definitely do think Indy has a tough schedule to finish out the year. But we do too. I said it last night too, Garrett, that I ultimately I thought that Detroit is going to get into the playoffs, but I said it was going to come down to that final week um against Tampa Bay, which, like I said before, I'm not looking forward to that. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah.
the idea of needing a result on the road
At a line.
to Tampa Bay, like, oh, oh, I don't
And
want
then
that.
and then Sean it like because again we were talking about this last night too, that it may not end, even if Detroit win. I mean, it may not end with that final whistle that night because Rhode Island is playing New Mexico Saturday night, August 25th at 9 p.m. So it may be one of those.
October.
Yeah, yep, I'm sorry, October 25th. It may be one of those, again, Miami Sacramento situations when, we're having to stay up and see another result, um, to confirm whether or not City makes it into the playoffs. You know what's going to happen too? We're going to get knocked out because Max is going to score some like late second or goal in stoppage time. The
87th minute penalty.
Oh, yeah, but like I said, ultimately I think Detroit gets in, but it's gonna be nerve-wracking. Um,
I said last night that if the trajectory of results from the last three continued, we would not get in. But I think the performances have been uplifting despite, especially these last two, despite the results, which is why you got to get at least something immediately against North Carolina on Saturday. Um, because if it becomes four losses in a row and or four without a goal, then yeah, it really, really is going to be painful. Um, Maybe you can get by Loudon, but then you got to go to Charleston, and yeah, I'm not. That's I don't got good feelings about that one. Let's be honest. So yeah, we'll see how it all goes.
Yeah. We don't want to go there needing 6 points out of our final two road matches. Like we want to go there with a little wiggle room.
Yeah,
mhm.
Um, and um, yeah, I mean we have consistently like we are shedding wiggle room like we're like like it's extra body fat and we're on keto. Like this is crazy town. Really, a
D-
month ago you'd say, all right, well, I mean, we were in like fourth, fifth, it was like, well, we're all right.
we're looking at fourth.
Right. We're
Fourth is
like,
looking tasty.
right, exactly. Like Loudon's looking a little shaky. We could, they start to stumble and we'll overtake them. No, 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 we will stumble. Hartford and Pittsburgh will overtake us
Hartford,
and
Hartford,
Pittsburgh.
Hartford, Hartford. I can't. Yeah, Hartford Athletic. We're bottom in the
Yeah.
East for a lot of
Yeah.
the year. We're now in. Not only that, they're in the Jaeger Cup final
Yep.
this week too. Yeah,
Yeah, they're having a good one. They're having a heater.
fuck.
So yeah. Like um I guess what I'm saying is that this is a competitive league, and I I'm starting to wonder if there are um, aspects of the at the corporate level where we're not quite ready to compete um, against these teams because like letting Trev go with no plan and no clear line of like the fact that Danny is saying he can't do anything about it, like that's not a thing that should be right. Like you shouldn't be hearing that from him. You should be hearing, you know, we have, we have an internal process. It's a little different because we don't have a sporting director, but we are working on it. Not like I wish we were. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and you know, here we finally built this roster that seems to be ready to, be competitive in this league for the next couple of years, and very little of it is nailed down. All like really what you would consider most of the key parts is certainly not nailed down. And like yeah, it's tough. Where it's tough. Like I don't. It feels like maybe the stadium. I talked way back when we were originally talking about the stadium, and I said an inevitable side effect of the stadium is in every club I've ever seen is that the football side goes adrift a little bit.
Sucks up
Um,
all the air.
it's just too much work, too many decisions, too many things involved. It's too important. It's something you cannot fuck up. Like
Hmm.
you don't have a bad year if you fuck up the stadium deal. You fail to get a stadium and go out of business. You
Yeah.
know, it's cataclysmic to fuck it up. So, your attention turns that direction, and it feels to me like um, maybe that's what's happening here. That now my guess is that probably Trev and Tiffany were let go for nothing more or less than sort of personality clashes with Danny. Um, and that it's been made clear that he's not expected to become the next sporting director. So he's kind of like, all right, well, you're not paying me to do that. And you're saying I'm not doing that, so I'm not doing that. Um, and so nobody's doing that. And it's one of those situations that's kind of blown up that if you were wired in like you would like if you weren't pulled in a million directions and locked into a ton of meetings and planning things and you know like just the amount of work it takes to put together a project like of this significance is mind-boggling. And that's why we are where we are. I don't know. Another possibility is that um, Jarrett does not work for the club anymore. They have not replaced him, and so maybe things are happening, and just nobody's around to tell us. Because that's another situation the club hasn't really, handled apparently.
Yeah.
So happy times.
Do we got anything else on the city stuff, or do we want to shift to closing thoughts?
Um, no, I actually just put something out too. Just kind of updating some of these injuries too that,
Yeah.
I was able to get. The Michael Bryant back injury. Um, I guess was still lobbying to play, but had trouble sitting down and standing back up, which,
Okay, so he's having like muscle spasms.
yeah, and Danny mentioned too that I guess he was on muscle relaxers
Oh, bro.
during the week. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be available against against North Carolina this Saturday. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, like what? Okay,
Uh,
so what happens if you're Michael Bryant and you take the field on muscle relaxers and you just play out of your mind great? Like now
Muscle
what?
relaxers for everybody.
It's just like well, shit. Am I going to have to take fucking Flexerol every an hour before every match just to get sufficiently like relaxed? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Um, the other one, Jope, suffered what sounded like was a knee injury.
mm,
That's what Danny thought it was, what it was that he suffered Saturday night. I asked if it was, had anything to do with the sports hernia, which was obviously, hampering him, for good portions of last season, good portions of this season. Said no, it sounded like it was a knee. Um, and then obviously too, this may be older news, but Connor Rutz, I'm thinking it's probably done for this season with that foot injury. So,
yeah.
Or
So it's Ben.
fasciitis?
So it's
yep.
Ben and Connor out for the season. How about Reese?
Um,
He's pretty much out for the season, right?
yeah, I didn't get anything on Reese. Perhaps I can get some of that next week, but didn't get any updates on Reese though this time
Yeah.
around.
And it's yeah. Yeah, that's some of the guys I'm kind of worried about in terms of the off season if we don't pull this around.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Mm. Um, so yesterday I play a lot of games, right? And after writing a kind of dispirited, like 6 paragraph gamer after City's loss, I loaded up a city builder game called Farther Frontier and got completely into like alpha state playing that game. Um, Building my little town I called Simpleton. It's going really well. Okay. I'm about to make a glass maker. So that's way up the technology tree. We're really pulling it together here in Simpleton. Um, but because of that, I stayed up really late. And so I was just kind of half awake on my couch, like kind of blearily reading, picking up the reading of a novel that I have from Libby on my phone. Cahokia Jazz, by the way, incredible novel. Um, and like, um, cops went past. Now I live like right across from Grand Blanc High School, on Saginaw Street, which is part of a larger roadway called Dixie Highway. Um, so cops belting south down Dixie Highway or north, not that unusual. I am right downtown, so them doing it at full speed is a little unusual. And then when two, three, four more came past in like a minute and a half, and then another 5 minutes, fire engine, a couple more. Like you're kind of like, oh, okay, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? And so go to my balcony, look out, and it looks like there's a pillar of smoke rising from kind of what past the tennis courts. Turns out it was like a mile away. It looked like it was about 400 yards away, but it wasn't. It was about a mile away. It was the Mormon church here in town, where a 40-year-old ex-Marine with a truck with a pair of American flags displayed in the bed of it, rammed through the front door and front wall of the worship area. And at this point, where it's not entirely clear, he initiated a fire within the church, either by throwing Molotov cocktails or he had something pre-placed that he uh, set off. But the building began to burn as he used an assault rifle to open fire on the congregation. Um, his rampage was cut short after just a couple minutes. A Department of Natural Resources trooper and a Grand Blanc City cop both responded immediately. And unlike what happened in Uvalde, they went in a cover in a cover pair and engaged the guy and killed him. But I believe at this point 5 people are dead. Like 10 or 12 more wounded. Lots of people wounded in the fire. Of course, kind of ripple of fear and outrage in the community. Because this was, it's clear on its face what this was. There was no opportunity. Like one of the reasons I think that this has been a little hard is in some ways this is kind of right on right crime. Right? The Mormons are not, woke.
Yeah.
Right? But what they are is not a mainstream. They're not the kind of sect that Christian nationalists want to let into the tent.
Sure.
So
They're like
this is
Jehovah's Witnesses in a sense. When
right,
it comes to that
exactly. So this is
definition.
accelerationist Kate. And the worrying thing to me is the profile of this guy. Because we have seen a fairly consistent profile for kind of mass terror operations, so-called lone wolf stuff. Although it's not lone wolf, it's syncretic. There are online communities that egg each other on and work and stuff. And it's been people involved in those online communities largely, quite young men, like 18 to 27, right? This guy was 40, as an ex-Marine who served in Iraq.
Yep.
And I guess what I'm worried about is there's, you're talking about an 8chan community that like urges each other on. What are you talking about? Maybe 15,000 guys, maybe. But if you're talking about like right wing chuds who, you know, went through the American military and got some skills from that, and are just responding to a general sort of trumpet to like high on the Turner Diaries, gonna go murder some people and kick off a frenzy of cleansing.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, that's what we're talking about here. This is not like some disgruntled dad. No, this is a dude who is like, this is political violence in the public sphere designed to, this is terrorism.
Yep.
And it's not going to be prosecuted like that because of the way the guy looks and because of the kind of t-shirts he wore in social media posts, right?
Hmm.
Because he, was really into drinking liberal tears and shit. It's going to be like it's just going to quietly sort of go away. I can already see, like, I went to the Guardian and they had a big coverage of it. Like, wow. But like, the national news channels were already just sort of just folding it under like it's yesterday. That was yesterday. Like that was
I
yesterday. That was yesterday morning. Okay.
completely,
Like,
yeah. I was shocked by that, Sean. Like, because I was coming back from Detroit as that started to happen, and I was trying to get some like news coverage, and I like what's going on with this. It's happening in Michigan, so I'm
yeah.
flipping on, and I have satellite radio on my phone, so I'm putting on CNN, putting on MSNBC, and
Do they have
trying to.
Rush Limbaugh from hell on that?
I do not. I do not. Trying to see what's going on. Nothing is happening with this. Just some quick blurbs across my phone, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, this is the day and age that we're living in right now. And you talk about the people who are in power here, and the danger with you're hearing about all this right now with words and everything like that coming from the right, especially since Charlie Kirk was murdered. The thing is the left, and especially the far left, is not in power. They don't hold any sense of power in this country right now. Um, and the right does. And I always mention too, whether it's Stephen Miller up there, going on about, just utter racist, bigoted bullshit that he often spews, and then they wonder why they get called fascist. It's like, okay, well, if you don't want to be called fascist, don't be doing fascist things.
Right, like
Um, I mean, don't be doing fascist things. Don't be saying fascist things. And, and the way Trump goes out there, the way Stephen Miller goes out there, the way that the Trump Spocks goes out there, they give these people like the shooter in Grand Blanc, this sick legitimacy that empowers them, to do this type of shit because that's exactly the type of rhetoric that is
right.
coming from the very top. And yeah, I
Well, I
don't
mean,
I don't hear
this
Trump.
is the advantage of the way they do it, right? Like you've got this massively propagandized and heavily armed populace. You
Sure.
don't need to like get your hands dirty doing anything. You just need to do kind of a constantly like, won't someone rid me of this troublesome priest? Like over and over again. Um, and it's like I deplore violence. Um, yeah, okay. We see this for what it is. The hard reality, like people talk like, okay, they object to the fascist label because they say that the things they're doing are this is American, like this is what America is about. And I'm like, okay, but you are not contradicting yourself. Like the ideas of fascism and the modes and expressions of fascism were not perfected in Germany. They were perfected in the United States and adopted by Germany after careful study of our
Hmm.
laws and our systems of exclusion,
Yep.
the ways we built a a society with a huge sort of underclass of essentially untouchables, but also built a culture of never discussing this and in fact denying this.
Yep.
Um, and you know, like, look, this is our original sin. This is our original sickness, and we will
Hmm.
never be better until we are better about with this. And this is nothing more and nothing less than another of the repeated tantrums of the people of the philosophy that the spirit that denies, the the people who would rather have less so long as that means you have even less. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Hmm.
Um, and that battle is like, um, is expressed in our period of history as white supremacy largely. Um, and uh, it's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. Like at some point we have to get over this, right? But no, we don't. There's no inevitability. We can continue to destroy ourselves and have that be the epitaph of our society. And I think, in fact, that is likely to be the outcome, right? Like we're seeing it. It's happening.
Yep.
Um, and if by some miracle we arrest this descent and reconsider our ways of dealing with each other, um, that would be an incredible story. But it's not actually happening right now.
Nope. It's getting worse. It's
Yeah,
getting
I mean,
worse.
like it really did. It really is one of those moments where you're literally watching the smoke from a terrorist, like a right wing terrorist
From your
thing
balcony.
from my balcony, and then there's like and like as I'm reading about that, there's like a shooting somewhere else, and um, but like, okay, well, I don't know, man. Like, okay, I'm gonna tell you kind of a messed up story, right? We're going long, so I guess I'll just keep going here because I this is a fucked up story. Um, I was a bright kid, and one of my kind of heroes was um, my history teacher, middle school history teacher. He we had a history club, which he had founded because he this dude was like at one point he was the Indiana State Teacher of the Year. He was really a great history teacher. Okay, and um, we we did a thing when I was an eighth grader. We did a thing about the Klan, about the history of the Klan in Indiana,
Hmm.
for like a state presentation. We won. Um, and in the aftermath of that, um, this teacher was like, "Hey, I don't know if you want to read any more about some of the ideas around that." But he gave me a couple of pamphlets, I think, which were like maybe reproductions of abolitionist pamphlets.
Oh,
But then
jeez.
he also gave me a copy of the Turner Diaries.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was an eighth grader. Okay, I was 14. And the Turner Diaries is like violence porn and like white supremacist violence porn that
That's what
imagines that it is like I read I think a chapter and a half and then I was like I shouldn't be reading this.
I
Like,
want to say that's
you know
what
what I mean?
largely inspired Timothy McVeigh in the Oklahoma
Yes,
City
yes.
bombings.
Timothy McVeigh thought he was starting a race war. That is the Turner Diaries is one of the fundamental like texts of the white supremacist, belief in America since its publication,
That and
and
like Camp
it
of the
is
Saints.
yeah, it is just absolute like kind of it's that cry bully like nonsense amped up to like a trillion. It's just a bunch of there's a bunch of dark-skinned men who are just full of raping energy here to raping some women, and that's why we've got to kill absolutely every person who is not white. And it like the book is like, now, like I said, I didn't read the whole thing. Like I got to a point where I was like, whoa, like I kind of, even as a 14-year-old, I was just like, I had read like horror, so the idea of encountering something in a text that was evil and that could fuck you up was like an idea that I had pretty live in my mind. And so when I started reading that, I got to a certain point where I was like, I think, and I mean, I'm glad I did, because I don't know. I mean, like I say, I was 14. If I read the whole thing, would I have just like turned into like, one of these psychos? Like, I don't know. But like that is what these people are thinking about when they're doing it's that kind of thing they're thinking about. If you're like,
Yep.
oh, you're sitting at home, I hear this a lot from people, like, oh, I just can't even imagine what you're thinking. Like, okay, bro, well then lock in, because I can tell you what they're thinking, because we've actually got years of evidence about what the fuck is going on here. Okay, like we know what they're thinking. And like the problem is you just keep going, you just keep making the dumb face, like Tucker Carlson. Huh? Like, all right, well, that's where white supremacy happens, right there. The dumb face is where it happens. You're like, here's like absolute proof of the wrongness of your previous proposition, and what you do is dumb face. That's how it works, and that's what you're doing. Like, cut it out. Like now, right? This is accelerationist terrorist shit designed to incite further actions like this and create a sense of chaos, so that the army can be in the streets, and so that you can institute basically a warlord society where people with guns take whatever they want from people who don't have guns and shit like that. Like, I mean, that sounds crazy, and I hope that this time next year it still sounds crazy,
Hmm.
because I think you can look at the tempo of things around you, and like just imagine that it keeps going or gets faster, because that's the idea. That's why it's called accelerationist. Is the tempo is supposed to go faster and faster and faster, more and more and more. You're like, oh my god, three in one day. I'm guessing that 6 months from now, three in one day will not be a big deal. So we're like, wow, 10 in one day. Wow. It's just going to keep creeping. And sane people will retreat from the public sphere out of, and that will make democratic institutions untenable. You can't have elections if it's just like shooting season. Um, I mean, you can, but like it's pretty clear how that's going to go.
I
Like,
can I have so many thoughts too. I know we're we're over though. Maybe we'll do maybe do a political podcast one day,
yeah,
and we just go off about, because like I said, accelerationism, I mean, I have so many different thoughts when it comes to something like that. But yeah, it's just it's such a fucked up timeline that we are living in right now. And it's
So so that's where so my thing that I will say with all this that has been going on and the tragedies and the suffering that people unfortunately yesterday here where Sean's at, and which unfortunately is something we often hear about all these days lately. Be good to as many people as you possibly can in this world, one day at a time, because I don't know, man. I'm too much hate in this world.
Yep.
Too much hate in this world. Um, yeah, I think that's a great way to end it for there. Chart.themajorsports.com.
One quick one for me. I want to give out a shout out to my uncle Tom, who passed away today. Long battle with cancer.
Oh,
So actually, it wasn't a long battle with cancer. It was actually a somewhat shorter battle with cancer, but it was a very aggressive form of cancer. And just give a quick shout out to him because very cool guy, and yeah, he's gonna be missed. So glad his suffering is over, though. So yeah.
And
I'm sorry, brother.
Oh, that's
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, and if anything, well, to connect it to the city thing on there, there's been a lot of my mom's service was over the weekend, and I noticed that there was a lot, like I talked about, with a lot of people that I've met through Detroit City and everything. Even those involved with City itself, um, that have guided through this time, I have to give thanks. Especially going through and review, when day after the service and just seeing the support received. Um,
Excuse me.
myself and my family. I thank y'all for that. So, um, yeah. John, are the cats ready?
Yeah, they are. I think Sarah gave him knockout pills or something. They're like
Oh no.
Pony's crashed. No, she didn't really. Pony's crashed on the couch. Uh, well, the other thing is they had a lot of cat games on the TV today. They've learned to request things on the TV. They'll ask for the TV to be on, and then they'll kind of keep poking at it until they get the thing they want. And what they wanted was cat games. Those are high stimulation videos, man. They are like running around in front of the TV, both of them, kind of like dodging each other and trying to get in position to, attack the mice or the butterflies or whatever is on the screen. So I think it's worn them out a bit. Uh, so you can send all your cat pics to Shield Chafing, which is SEYLDSEEAFING at various social media platforms. Although I don't really look at Twitter very often. I mean, sometimes I try to uh, dip into it, see if anybody sent me direct messages and stuff, and then get back out because you know it's run by um, end of the world cultist crazy people who want you to be filled with despair. So, I, as someone who is naturally predisposed to be filled with despair anyway, like I don't need that help. So
Right on.
Yep. TMSNX Detroit, Twitter, on Instagram, TMSNX Detroit.bsky.social. Adam, where can folks find you?
At TMS Next Adam,
You
most
can find me,
social media platforms.
GM comments for me. So we'll be back in a couple weeks. Hopefully, on the field gets better. Please, come on.
have you ever seen the Mitchell and Webb sketch where it's the snooker commentators? Like, oh, that's a bad miss.
I've
No, you ever
not.
seen that? They're constantly drinking and it's really great. If you ever get a chance to see that Mitchell and Webb look, it is one of the best sketch shows. It's kind of I don't know if it's streaming anywhere right now. Like you can find episodes on YouTube. It's incredible. But
Hopefully, we don't.
Garrett, you're giving me snooker commentator vibes right now. You're like, thanks to Mrs. Chesley for the bottle of gin. Settles quite nicely on the belly. You
While he's
Hopefully,
sipping his.
hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully we don't have a. That's that. Hopefully, that's not our. Oh, it was a bad miss. It's not our next episode title.
exactly. Ah, now I really want you to watch that because I'm convinced you'll love
Oh, yeah.
it. Garrett, you have a new religion. Go find it.
Hmm.
Mitchell and Webb.
The Ates Inferno or O is a bad miss. It might be one of those two or somewhere in the middle next
Exactly.
time, folks.
Like I really hope for Ates Inferno.
uh, until next time, take care. One day, be good to everyone around you. Hell yeah, brother. Call.
Oh.